Good afternoon, Dunkirk and Fredonia listeners, and welcome back to News at Noon. News at Noon is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. I'm News Director Lee Pye here today with Sara Lodespoto, Kelly Ibach, Joshua Ribakove, as well as Hunter Halterman and Mitch Horucy. With this top of the hour update, we'll bring you the latest of SUNY Fredonia's campus news and events, sports, weather, and music, as well as national and international news. First up, let's go to the event bulletin for this week. Fredonia Radio Systems is taking over the ice rink for their annual Rock and Skate fundraising event. There will be raffles, activities, food, as well as being able to skate on ice. The Legacy Show High Noon Friday is celebrating their 40th year anniversary and is having an 80s theme for the event. Get all groovy on the ice rink in Steel Hall on February 23rd from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's it for the information through the grapevine. Next up, we'll bring it to Kelly for our latest campus news updates.
Thanks, Lee. The Performing Arts Company, PAC, Spring Experimental Show is happening. Come see the play Little Women by Jacqueline Goldfinger, directed by Bowie Rivera. The performance is on February 16th from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Saturday, February 17th, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. and February 18th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. The performance is at Main Street Studios, 50 West Main Street, Fredonia. A workshop later today is happening for all the procrastinators out there from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. The workshop will consist of the costs of procrastination, how to investigate your reasons for procrastination, how to identify what's really going on when you procrastinate, and how to create a plan to minimize procrastination using proven techniques to better manage your time. The workshop is in the Williams Center, S222. That's it for campus news. Now let's send it back to Lee.
Thanks, Kelly. Next up, we have local news. Seneca Nation President Ricky Armstrong announced that upon review of the updated data, two local motor fuel providers conducting business on Seneca Nation territory are compliant with the Seneca Nation law and are not in danger of having their Seneca Nation business license suspended. Meanwhile, CrossFit Incorporated of Warren, PA, with supplies fuel to gasoline stations on the nation's territories, have been notified that it is currently operating in the violation of Seneca Nation law. The violation notice sent by the nation demands that the company come into compliance, including remnants of necessary fees and obtaining required nation licenses, prohibits CrossFit from doing business on Seneca Nation territory until they have met all Seneca Nation requirements. If the company fails to come into compliance, its Seneca Nation business license will be suspended as of Friday, and the company must cease and desist from doing business on the Seneca Nation territory as of the date until until all nation requirements are met. Another company, Metzer Fuel Service Incorporated of Painesville, Ohio, does not have a valid Seneca Nation business license. The company was issued an order to immediately cease and desist commercial activity on the Seneca Nation territory until the proper license has been obtained and all requirements are met. Chautauqua County Sheriff's deputies. I'm having struggling reading this today. Chautauqua County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a death after a motor vehicle accident late Sunday. At around 11:36 p.m., the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office and South Dayton Fire Department responded to Dye Road. An investigation found that a utility terrain vehicle had exited the road and struck a tree. The operator of the vehicle and sole occupant died as a result of the accident. Officials said more information will be released at a later time. That's it for your local news update. Let's take it to some sports with Mitch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lee. I am Mitch. There is not much going on this day of love. There's no Fredonia sport teams in action until Friday at the men's and women's teams. Men's and women's basketball teams take on Oswego, so we'll have an update for you when Matt gets back on Friday. In other news, the Buffalo Sabres defeated the Los Angeles Kings in a blowout, 7-0. 6 different Sabres scored, and Jordan Greenway had 2 goals for the Sabres. Goalie Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen had his 4th shutout of the season and his career as he continues to improve. It's possibly the best they've looked all year, and they will need to keep it up as they are currently 10 points out of a playoff spot with 2 months remaining in the season. That's it for your sports update. Let's send it to Sara with the weather.
Now, here is your Northern Chautauqua weather update brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems.
Hey y'all, it's Valentine's Day, and the weather does not want to show us any love as it reaches a cloudy high of 32. Look, just a little reminder for you guys, Valentine's Day is about showing appreciation for someone you love. So, remember to take some time and treat yourself to the love you give others. Maybe tonight, while the clouds place us in the mid-20s, you could treat yourself to a nice bath that you've been craving. If you're looking to do your love confession in the rain, hold off till tomorrow. It's not ideal since it's 38 degrees, windy, and the rain mixes with some snow. But hey, better late than never. If anything, running after your loved one while we accumulate about 1 inch of snow is commitment right there. A rite of passage to one's heart, if you will. Luckily, you'll have the entire day to do this because later into the night, our romantic gloom continues while we drop to 28. That's it for your 2-day weather. Keep listening, and I'll be back with the rest of your weekend forecast. For now, let's take it to Lee for a local music update.
A show is happening at BJ's in downtown Fredonia. Last Call Entertainment is hosting Deluxe, Bone Machine, Garden Closet, and Spooky Visions. Come to BJ's at 51 West Main Street, Fredonia on Thursday, February 15th. Doors are at 9 p.m. and music is at 10 p.m. And the classic folk band of Fredonia is returning from their hiatus after the lead singer and bassist moved to New York City. Hal and Pals are returning to BJ's in downtown Fredonia, hosted by Last Call Entertainment, and Hal and Pals are playing along with other bands like Patchwork, Galactic Waste, and Mike Hogan. The show is February 22nd at BJ's, 51 West Main Street, Fredonia. Doors are at 9 p.m. and music is at 10 p.m. Come support your local music. That's it for music news this week. Let's bring it to Josh for national and international news.
Having made it through the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm sure we all understand the CDC's guidelines, specifically the guideline in which infected people are expected to isolate for at least 5 days to prevent spreading the coronavirus to others. Well, this seemingly fundamental measure could be subject to change as we approach spring. Although the Center for Disease Control and Prevention has not officially released the updates yet, 4 agency officials told the Washington Post some new information, with an agency spokesperson writing, quote, "No updates to COVID guidelines to announce at this time. We will continue to make decisions based on the best evidence and science to keep communities healthy and safe," end quote. The determining factor on quarantine could soon be based on the symptoms an infected person is experiencing. If a person doesn't have a fever and their symptoms are mild, they could be allowed to go to school or work. It's believed that these changes could be coming because the risks of spreading COVID are not as consequential as they once had been, and quarantining is really difficult. Stay tuned as April approaches for more information from the CDC. Yesterday, the House of Representatives voted to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas. This is the first time in 150 years since a cabinet secretary has been impeached, and the Republican-controlled House made the decision based on their dissatisfaction with the Biden administration's handling of U.S.-Mexico border control. The impeachment vote first came up last Tuesday, but it did not reach enough votes to remove Mayorkas. This week's vote had enough support from Democrats to remove the Homeland Security Secretary from his seat. Critics of the decision to impeach him believe that it is not the actions of the Biden administration that have drawn migrants to the border, and that such a choice is for voters to decide, not an issue that deserves such a measure as impeachment of a cabinet member. For now, Alejandro Mayorkas keeps his job, and it is up to the Senate to decide whether he is convicted and thus removed from the job. If Mayorkas is to be removed, 2/3 of the Senate must vote in favor of convicting him, an unlikely vote considering that Democrats control the Senate in a majority of 51 to 49. Yesterday evening was a special election for New York State. To summarize it briefly, Republican George Santos has lost his seat as House candidate, with Democrat Tom Suozzi winning. Going forwards, Suozzi will now serve out the remainder of Santos's term, who was expelled from House last year. The race was mostly highlighted by Republican attacks on immigration, with Suozzi defending a centrist view that the border needs to be secured with a bipartisan compromise. Republican Lee Pye argued her pro-life views that ultimately cost the Republicans a loss to New York State, as Democrats likened Pye to George Santos. This special election marks a victory for the Democrats in New York as more elections approach on the horizon. That does it for today's national and international news. Now let's bring it back to Sara for your weather weekend update.
Hey y'all, just like that, Friday is fast approaching and brings us a little treat of snow as it enters 32 degrees. I'm very happy with our 3-day weekend. However, my poor friend already has no classes on Friday, so this mini break doesn't affect him at all. I feel bad, but at the same time, he gets 3-day weekends all the time, so why should I be upset? Call me jealous, I don't care. The evening continues its snowy agenda while it shifts to 22. The snow finally stops Saturday morning, leaving the rest of the day for strong wind speeds and clouds in the upper 20s. I don't know if it's the weather or something in the water, but are a lot of people sick right now? I know it's at least 3 people that aren't feeling well this past week. I hope it's not the cold weather getting people sick, because the weather ain't getting much better, with Saturday evening having a breezy snow overcast dipping to the low 20s. To end off our nice weekend, Sunday follows the trends of the mid-30-degree temperatures, wind speeds to blow us away, and, of course, a lovely visit from snow clouds. We have a celestial body to celebrate, as it is Pluto's anniversary for discovery. My little Pluto, even though you're a great distance from us, just know you deserve better. There, I said it. I don't want, nor do I care, about what scientists rant on Pluto's qualifications as a planet. Unfortunately, our cloudy night in the mid-20s forbids us to see Pluto turning 96. Whoops. That's it for your weekend forecast. Let's take it right back to Lee.
That'll wrap up for today's edition of News at Noon. Campus News is written by Lee Pye and read by Kelly Ibach. Local news for this broadcast is prepared by Lee Pye. Weather is presented by Sara Lodespoto. Sports is presented by Mitch Horucy. Music is prepared by Lee Pye. National and international news is prepared by Joshua Ribakove. And finally, board operations for this broadcast are performed by Hunter Halterman. Thanks for tuning in to News at Noon. Join us every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. From all of us at Fredonia Radio Systems, have a lovely Valentine's Day.